Welcome to the Win, Make, Give podcast. Chad Hyams here, and once again, Bob Stewart, nowhere to be found. I think I meant it on the last episode, folks, when I said I might be auditioning a new co-host, because that man needs to go back and listen to the episodes where we talk about how to control your schedule. Folks, go back, listen to the episodes on control your schedule. You can go back and hear all of our episodes. They're there for you. There are some amazing ones. I'm not going to pull a list for you, but there are amazing episodes, obviously, some great interviews, some great lessons from Bob, Ben, myself, and of course, the Wealth series. Folks, have you watched the stock market? I don't know what it's doing at the day that I'm airing this or when Dave drops it. I know what it's doing the day I record this, right? We want to help you with your wealth. So make sure you go to winmakegive.com/wealth. Check out the Wealth series, because if you've done it before, you know you need to do it again. It's a refresher to help you move forward to build the financial freedom you are looking for. That is just one of those things I love to remind you about. Yet today I'm going to have a fantastic conversation. Maybe it'll be, I don't even want to go there with the adjectives I'm going to pull up in advance. I'm just going to wait till the end, and I'm going to let you folks decide the adjectives. But I am being joined by somebody. I can't wait to hear what this lady's got to share with us today. This one's been on our calendar for a while. We've been waiting for the day to finally show up, and she is here today to join us. Please welcome to the Win, Make, Give podcast, Marty McDonald. Marty, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much, Chad, for having me. I mean, did you not turn on a whole radio voice?
I do have the radio voice. Yes, absolutely.
I'm like, okay, Chad, I hear you. I see you.
No, sadly, radio's not a thing anymore. I don't know if anybody listens to radio, so I'm not going to get a job as a radio host anymore. I always thought DJ might have been the path for me, but folks, I'll host your podcast. We can talk. Marty, before we even get into this, before you even introduce yourself to our audience, before you tell them your amazing story, your amazing tales, we dive into your book, we dive into the things that you have for our audience. That is the craziest wallpaper I have ever seen behind you. Folks, you know you don't get to see it. We do. I don't even know how to describe it. It's like you gave a child a Sharpie and said, draw squares on my wall, and they are all misshapen and connected and all over the place. What does that wallpaper do for you when you walk into this space in your home? I'm assuming your office. When you walk into it, what does seeing that wallpaper do for you?
Oh my God, it grounds me in design. It grounds me in the complexity of the world, but it also feels like it's structured in my home. I have this wallpaper in another place in my house turned horizontally instead of vertically.
Okay.
And I don't know, it grounds everything together for me. It's the complexity of the up, the down, the all around I love it. I love it. I love the ambiguity of it all. Yeah.
Okay. Folks, look, we talk about it often on the podcast. It was the first chapter in my book, right? Environment is everything. And that wallpaper grounds Marty. That's why I had to ask, because it's not like relaxing wallpaper. That's not the word I would use. There's definitely chaos to it. There's definitely energy moving through it, yet it grounds Marty. So it's the perfect thing for your environment. Love it. Had to mention it. Everybody's going to be saying, Chad, find me a picture of it. I'm never going to find a picture of it again, folks. So there you go. Marty, now that they know that you have crazy wallpaper, let's tell them more about you. I'm not reading your bio. I don't want to read bios. Bios are like things written, to blah, blah, boring. Who is Marty McDonald?
Well, first of all, thank you guys so much for having me on. I definitely appreciate the visibility and the opportunity. I am the CEO and founder of two organizations. I own a media company called Boss Women Media, which is an offline, online women's empowerment community and media storytelling company. And then I was not challenged enough by that, and I started a whole nother business, but something that I really lean into from a purpose perspective. I have a children's brand called Elle Olivia. It's a lifestyle brand for little girls to see themselves through everyday moments with a character that we're developing. Her name's Elle Olivia. She's artistic, uplifting, and she showcases to a 1 to 5 year old that anything is possible, that her future matters. And, I've done so many incredible things in the 2.5 years of owning that business and building it from the ground up. Outside of my work titles that I currently rent, I am a wife. I am a mom of 3 little ones. I have 3 kids under the age of 4. I have a 4-year-old. Her name's Elle. I have twins that are 20 months old. I'm a girl's girl all the way. And I am someone who has built so many things that I wish I would have seen in this world. And because I didn't see them, I took the courage and a lot of audacity to build it myself. And so,
Nice word. Folks, remember that word. Tell me one thing. Let me put you right there on the spot. Tell me one thing you did not see in the world that you thought needed to be in the world that you have built that everybody should be aware of. 1, folks, we can all do that. And 2, here, I built it for you. It's already there.
yeah. Well, one of the things that I built was I built the concept for myself around permission, right? Not needing the permission from anyone to start, right? So often we're told that as a little kid, ask for permission, don't do it without permission, right? And it's ingrained in us. And then we go into adulthood and it's like, go explore, disrupt, all the things, but you've been trained to ask for permission. And so I sat in corporate America for about 11 years. I didn't see myself. It was it was isolating. I wore the hat of imposture, all the things. We can all relate to what it feels like when you don't get to see yourself sitting in a space and kind of desiring what it could be like if it was more of you, or if you saw what your future self looked like, or if there was a pathway to greatness that had been mapped out for you, right? And so for me, in 2017, I ended up exiting corporate America based off of that sentiment alone, right? I decided, you know what? Betting on myself is going to cost me, the fears are going to cost me more than the opportunity not to bet on myself. And so I just said, you know what? I'm going to do it all. I'm going to throw everything at the wall and see what happens. I exited, started my media company, Boss Women Media. Didn't necessarily know what that looked like. Didn't know what the plan was going to be. Didn't know who I was going to meet. Did not have the right connections. Didn't have the right last name. Didn't come from the right family. But I decided, hey, I'm not going to wait for permission to do it. And that's really where my confidence started to map itself out of me believing in what's possible.
I love that. Love it. You mentioned in introducing yourself that you're a mom to 3. God bless you, right? A 4-year-old and 20-month-old twins, I believe is what you said. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. Don't want to miss that. What's the challenge that comes with that? Because I don't know how many times I hear from people, oh, Chad, you can do that because, well, you don't have kids to worry about. You don't have that stuff around you anymore. People want to use their kids. Kids are wonderful. I have one. She's amazing. People want to use kids as an excuse or a crutch. Way too often, I believe, Marty said, well, I can't do that, right? Talk to me about being a parent and an entrepreneur at the same time.
Woo! Do you got some time? Okay. For me, I will say this. When I got pregnant with my first daughter, Elle, we got pregnant in the pandemic. Me and my husband had experienced a couple of miscarriages before. It was something that we wanted so badly, right? And then when I got her and we got diagnosed with something, we were in the NICU, all of these things happened, but everything in my world began to change. I think it was because for me, I grew up robbed of a childhood a little bit.
Okay.
And so from the perspective of never experiencing that and never really being able to see what a mother figure is supposed to be, the role a mother figure is supposed to play, right? I knew I wanted to do it differently. I had some generational curses that I wanted to remove off of my lineage line, right? That I was responsible for. So I went into this with a different mindset, right? I went into this knowing that I got some tools inside of me. I didn't know the tools that I was going to teach my first child, though. And I will say the journey of becoming a mother provides the tools that you need, or a parent in general, of what you're supposed to experience and expose your child to. I think there's so many phases of what parenthood looks like. But when I was in the NICU, me and my husband spent 35 days in the NICU. I learned very quickly 2 tools that I am supposed to equip my daughter with.
Okay.
Number one, our NICU experience showed me you had to pull up and advocate. Her life was on the line. And if I didn't show up, they were going to treat my child like everything and everybody else. I had to show them that she was supposed to be a priority to them, right? And so pulling that tool out of advocacy, I had to learn how to use my voice for her life. And then in return, give her the tools to do that. And then the second tool that I learned was representation isn't synonymous. And how I show her what's possible for her in this world is through exposure and representation. And I think that my story in corporate is a little bit of a story of non-representation that was available to me, right? And so that was kind of like the charge that I took on as her parent. As I'm navigating parenthood and I'm in the toddler trenches, it is a fool over here every day, right? I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to give. I don't know what kid's going to bite in the classroom. I don't know what tantrum's going to be thrown in the middle of the floor at the store, all the things. I do know I want to create kind human beings. I know I want to create human beings that know how to make decisions and are great decision makers. So every day I'm looking for ways to incorporate that. They're looking at me and they're my biggest motivation to keep going. So yes, while it is a fool and my schedule is crazy and I have to leave space for them and I can't give you my everything and be exhausted afterwards and can't give them nothing, I know that when they look back over my life, my kids are going to be able to say, man, my mama betted on herself. And that is the most ultimate compliment that they can give me, is knowing that their mama betted on herself and put it all on the line so that they had access to a better future than what I had.
Uh, yeah, I'm not one who's usually at a loss for words. Wow, right? Careful what you ask this lady. You're going to get the answer. Marty, here's the thing. You have a story, and we don't have to get into it. It's personal, the detail, right, of your first pregnancy. Hopefully your twins, it was a much smoother pregnancy for you. Yet you actually came out of that pregnancy and then wrote a book and started a company.
Yeah.
Right. You wrote a book about the experience for others. You started this company, Elle Olivia, based on your daughter and the experience and all the stuff that happened. Who goes and has a kid, and while the kid's 6 months old, 8 months old, says, hey, I'm going to start this company? Talk a little bit about how you were able to be a mom with the challenges that you and your daughter were experiencing, and at the same time be an entrepreneur and say, but there's an opportunity here for others.
Yeah. When I left the NICU, that was not the North Star. I wasn't going to go start a company. I was still building a media company. I was minding my pure business, right? But when I wrote the children's book to be an affirmations book. There was a little boy next to us in the NICU. He was 8 months old, and his parents hadn't come to see him for probably about 3 months. And as a new parent, that really just stuck with me. So I wanted to have a tool so the nurses could read to him. We were also in COVID, and so lots of folks couldn't come in. Care nurses that would come rock babies, that wasn't a job anymore. Volunteers couldn't do that. And so I really wrote down these words that I would say to Elle every day. You are strong. You are capable. You're a warrior. God has you covered, right? All of these things that I was feeling in the moment because I had no control over how and when we would leave this space. And the little boy next to us couldn't pass the open air test. And I thought, if someone just affirmed him, he also will know he's strong and he's capable and God's with him. And so that's what I wrote the book for, right? I wrote the book from the space of it was a healing for me and it was a tool for my daughter. And I really wanted the little boy next door to know that his affirmations existed for him. So I self-published the book, put it on Amazon, right? My family was so proud, but I was just like, this wasn't anything that I was planning on doing, right? So after we leave the NICU, one day I go into Target, probably was about 8 months later. And I was looking for something because I had my two marching orders, advocacy, representation. And I went into Target and I was looking for something that looked like my daughter, that looked like her in a manner in which she could see herself in. And I didn't see it. And so I left Target that day and I said, you know what? If I can't see it, then I got to build it, right? It was very much so the beginning of me creating Boss Women Media, right? And I didn't need anybody to give me the permission to start. And so I left Target that day and I said, you know what? I'm going to go create it. And so I created a children's apparel brand. I launched it 6 months later, and then I sent a cold pitch email to Target and I said, hey, Target, you guys have some gaps on your floor. There is a set of moms who are seeking to shop with intentionality that you're not meeting. And you guys should consider reviewing our line. And they did. We did a line review with them, and they awarded us to go into over 400 Targets with some seasonal collections. We did a holiday collection, a spring collection. We did an everyday collection. But it was from this space of not being ruled by, if you don't see it, don't do anything, but instead being motivated by, I will build what I can't see.
I'm looking at the shop elleolivia.com right now. So the smile on my face while you're talking is not only what you're hearing, is as I'm seeing the pictures of your daughter and the other things that you're showing here on the website. Folks, if you want to check it out, it's shop Olivia.com if you want to check it out. Okay. I want to transition. Something you mentioned was you wrote the book, you self-published it on Amazon. So then what do? You say, hey, I wrote a book once. I published a book once. I'm going to do it again, right? And now we've got, and you used this word earlier, audacious, okay? Yeah. And audacious is coming to us later this year, right? The fall time, folks. You can pre-order it on Amazon. You could just search for Marty McDonald, spelled just like it sounds, or you could search for Audacious, the book if you want, and you can pre-order it. But it's Audacious, a bold guide to building the life and career you want and deserve. I love those last two words that are added on it. Let's sneak peek, right? I mean, the book's not coming for a few months as you're finishing it up and getting it ready to go, or whatever. You're waiting for the holiday rush, whatever's got the fall release date. But let's talk to people about it and let's give them some of the lessons that they're going to learn when they read their way through Audacious later this year.
Yeah. Well, I think the framework and the premise of my story is this, just from everything that you've heard me say, is that I've taken the step and not known. I've done the work and not been connected. I've not been all the way funded, right? But I still believed. And I believe the book itself is making the conscious decision that being audacious every day is a daily decision, right? It's not just a title, it's a mindset shift, especially when the world tells you to shrink a little bit. And so how I even got the book deal, right? Because I got the book deal with the third largest publishing house. I actually had an Elle Olivia pop-up with some moms. I'm connecting with these moms that are influencers. One of them tells me she gets a book deal. And I thought, what? People are getting book deals? I'm not dreaming big enough. Prior to that, probably about 12 months prior, some friends, we were out to dinner and they're like, Marty, what you got going on in, 2024? And I'm like, I'm going to get me a book deal. That's what's going to happen in 2024. Not knowing that 6 months later, I was going to run into someone who's going to introduce me to my book agent that then leads me to the publishing company who gives me the book deal that's from my hometown in Tennessee, in which I grew up. And it just goes to show there is so much power in being incredibly clear about what it is that you want in your life. Not waiting on someone to give it to you, not waiting on someone to share a vision with you, and then taking the action towards it every day.
Okay, stop there. Wait, stop there. How do we do that? Right? How do we become that clear? I mean, that we don't just say, well, I want a book deal, right? How do we know that that's what we need? Or how do we know that, hey, I want to be on this show, or I want to go help how do we figure that out?
For me, it was understanding how my faith and how my fear collides together, and knowing that my future is waiting on the faith aspect of me to show up. And so it's getting quiet. Sometimes we're so freaking afraid to get still for a second that will lead to clarity, right? What is it that you feel like you're good at, right? So let's just say someone doesn't know. They're in kind of this space of stuck. I do this assessment every year. I text 5 people. One person who does not look like me, one person that's older than me, one person that is a peer to me, one person that is younger than me, and one person that's in the field I desire to be in.
Okay, let's run that list again for them, right? 5 people. You said one person that does not look like you.
Yep.
Okay. One person that's older than you, one that is your peer, one that is younger than you, and one that is in the field you want to break into or grow in.
Yep.
Okay. And you text them all.
I text them.
What do you text them?
I text them, can you tell me in your perspective what you think I'm good at?
Okay.
And this is for someone who's feeling stuck, right? It's almost like a 360 review that a corporation would give, right?
Yep.
Tell me what you think I'm good at. Tell me where you think I have opportunity to grow, right?
Okay.
And then you collect that feedback and you utilize it for your good. You hear what people say, and you're a connector, you're a storyteller, right? You're a galvanizer, you're a community builder, you're a leader, right? You have opportunity and execution, right? Like whatever that looks like, you take that feedback and you utilize that as your North Star of how you're going to move the needle forward.
Okay, don't be surprised, folks, if you see these 2 questions just show up on my Facebook asking all of you to tell me, right? Be honest, it's probably already happened, right? Yeah. By the time this episode airs, I've probably already done that. All right, so that becomes my North Star.
That becomes almost like your business plan, right? Okay. You use that as your objective of how and what you want to go after, especially if it aligns with what you want to do, right? Sometimes we're not even self-aware of what we're good at. Somebody else can see it, but you can't even see it in yourself, right? We all know those friends that we have to pep talk and tell them, you are good at this thing. And they're like, no, I'm not. And you're like, no, that's your lane. Stay in your lane, right? That helps you stay in your lane. Because when you're operating outside of your lanes, that's how you get confused. That's where clarity loses its way. And so that's how you get the clarity for the vision, right?
Okay. So it's 5 people, right? You heard the 5. You could probably do more than 5, but you're not looking for 100 answers really, because you'll just get overwhelmed with it. That's why Marty's saying 5. And Marty, tell them again the 2 questions you ask.
You're going to ask them what you're good at and where are the places that there are opportunities for you to be better. And then from there, that's how you gain clarity around your vision.
Okay.
And then there are so many ways to create action plans now with the help of AI tools and
Just
all of
ask
that.
Chat GPT, right?
Oh my God. Like creating an action plan is the least of anybody's worries. But
Right.
here's what I say about that. You gotta, if you want what you're saying you want for your life, you have to take action towards it every single day. There's a couple of things on my plate right now. And I'm like, okay, these things must happen for me, right? And I share and put all of these stories and all of this framework inside the book, right? The book it's filled with stories around fear. Fears never go away. You dream bigger, more fears come.
Okay.
Get comfortable with knowing that fear is always gonna be tapping you on the shoulder, right?
Okay.
You just learn how to deal with it. You learn how to navigate it differently, right?
And the old expression, right? Courage is not having fear, it's having fear and facing it anyway.
That's it.
Right.
That's it. That's
Got
it. And then you take action. I believe that there's something incredibly happens when you take action. That's the piece that most of us are afraid to do.
Sure.
It's not visualizing and dreaming and thinking it. It's making a decision to move towards it every single day.
Right.
And so, and once you figure out how you're going to do it, just do it. Do it raw. Do it broke. Do it hungry. Do it like just do it, right? I feel like that's the only way I've had the success I've had, because I've not known all the answers. I've not known all the right folks, right? Use LinkedIn as a tool, right? I sent a cold pitch email to Target. In the book, I share the framework of how I sent that pitch, what that pitch looked like, how you become a storyteller where the brand see themselves and they don't see you, right? And you always want to be a master negotiator in that way, right? You want people to be bought into the idea that you amplify them and it's not always about you. And so the book essentially, I believe, is the permission slip. It is the permission slip for you to go off and live the life and career that you desire. Because all of us want to have this incredible life, but sometimes we're waiting on someone to give it to us or to tell us it's okay. And Audacious is the framework in saying, here's the permission slip. Now go do it. Now go believe it. Now go live it. And I want this book to be the game changer. I just believe that we're going to impact millions of people with this book.
I can hear it in your passion for it. I wait to see it in print. Folks, remember, right? Ask for forgiveness. Stop asking for permission. If you need it, though, Marty has written you the permission slip.
Yeah.
But you had to still get signed by your parents to go on that field trip when you went to school. I don't know if they still do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know, and I don't want to know. Okay, Marty, you had the amazing experience in corporate. You saw what needed to change. You saw as your daughter was born what needed to change, and you filled the gap. You saw that people need to ask for permission. They don't need to, but they feel they need to. So you've given us the permission slip. All that being said, if I said one thing that they should all walk away from this episode with, whether it's something you've already said you want to reiterate, whether it's something we haven't even talked about that you were like, oh, I really hope Chad's going to ask me about this, whatever it is, what do you want to make sure they leave this with when they're done with this episode?
I want folks to know that betting on yourself is the most secure investment that you can absolutely make.
I'm just letting that sit there for a second, folks.
Period.
Yeah.
Listen, we all like talking about stocks and real estate and how to make money and all of those things. And that's great. And those are ways to a mean.
Yep.
But let me let you know, the most actionable, the most forward, the most rewarding investment that you can make is to yourself. And that's what I want folks to know. I want them to know that what would change if you went all in on you?
Folks, we talk about compound interest and Win, Make, Give. It come in the wealth series. It comes up regularly. Bob and I will reference compound interest and how the brain doesn't even comprehend how compound interest works. It's the eighth wonder of the world, basically. What if it was you? not money you've made an investment. What if every day you truly did get 1% better? What if every day you did truly invest in yourself and all of a sudden you're looking back 5 years from now going, I don't even recognize that person, yet you won't see it happen, right? You'll go up, you'll rocket ship up, and all of a sudden you'll be like, I don't remember getting here. And I also don't remember what it was like being there, because compound interest is the thing that can make you difference. All right. We've been talking with Marty McDonald. Folks, you can go on Amazon, search her name. You can find Audacious, which is going to be coming out later this year. You can go to shopelleolivia.com if you want to find out more about the product she was talking about there. And you can go to bosswoman.org, where you can sign up for Marty's newsletter so that you're getting more information and all of that. Marty, where else could they connect with you if they're sitting there going, I got to talk to this lady?
You can follow me on Instagram, Marty T. McDonald.
Marty T. McDonald. And it's Marty with a Y, everybody. Okay? She doesn't spell it funny. It's Marty with a Y, T. McDonald. You can find her on Instagram. Marty, I really appreciate you taking the time and sharing with me today and sharing with our audience. I know it's for me, really, who needs to hear it. It's them who gets to come along on the journey. We appreciate you taking that time and joining us today.
Oh, man, my pleasure. And thank you so much for having me and allowing me to lean in a little bit.
Absolutely. We'll let you get back to your twins and your 4-year-old. I'm sure they're running circles around there and in the cookies waiting. One
of them face was just looking at me on the window. So
there you go. Mom! All right, we'll let you get out of here. Folks, until our next episode, as always, do good.